Hey, greetings everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Plan B Success. Today, we're going to talk about the factors that cause stress in our life and the need for emotional intelligence. But before I get there, let me talk about an incident that happened recently. I was speaking to a few people at a session that I was at, and they asked me how things have changed or how times have changed when we look back at several decades to where we are today. And this is what I believe. I believe we have gone through three different revolutions in terms of our work atmosphere. One is, if you look back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, we were in the Industrial Revolution, where it meant that you were focused on physical kind of work, working with machines and such. And then there was a need for worker bees and there was a need for management, and management used the carrot and stick principle in terms of reward and punishment as far as getting the work done. And it was important for people to achieve their livelihood through the means that were available at that point in time, so they were basically trying to make ends meet. After that, in the 90s and the early 2000s came the information revolution. And when we look at that age, the people then were working with information. They were working with data in different formats. And the kind of work that they did was more in order to ensure that they earned a decent livelihood. So it was about their standards of living at that point in time that they cared about and how they could make sure that they had the right standards of living. That's what they did. Again, management and the worker community changed at that point in time, and the carrot and stick approach that was there before would not hold good in this atmosphere. It was all about people understanding their own skills and then management actually looking at motivating their staff in terms of utilizing their skills to the best potential possible and then rewarding them for outcomes. After that, where we stand today is within the social media revolution, where we have platforms that aggregate people by the millions and billions, and then everybody is working on providing services, products to these people on these platforms and reaching out to them in order to do business. So when we look at the current generation, it's no longer about making ends meet or working for standards of living, but it's about meaningful living. It's about trying to lead the lives the way you believe are meaningful to you. And that's what we see with today's generations. So that's been the transformation of work when it comes to the last several decades. And as a result, also management. Now we talk about treating everybody on the same plane, whether it's managers or workers. Well, there's no more that distinction between workers and managers. It's the more skilled you are, the better off you are. That's where we stand today. Coming back to what I was talking about in terms of what we are discussing, the mind over muscle aspect of emotional intelligence. The reason I went through those several different decades of how work has evolved over time is that, again, going back and looking at 4 to 5 decades ago, the use of brawn over brain was prevalent and a necessity to make a successful livelihood. There was a lot of physical work involved. Times have changed and the brawn has given way to the brain. So now it's all about what you have in your head, and that's what matters to succeed at work and even in life. It's right between your ears. It's how and in what way you exercise it that reflects the degree of your success. As a result, you have to struggle with and manage stress constantly. So one of the factors, the side effects of today's generation, or as soon as this whole digital transformation started occurring, as soon as the information revolution started occurring, is the constant and incessant push of information. That's what causes the stress. The stress is contributed by various means, be it trying to keep up with the pace of the day, your work, how fast you do it, how efficiently you do it, maintaining and balancing that work-life balance between your work relationships and your personal relationships. And it's more nowadays than decades ago when physical labor and simple living were prevalent. Although there was physical labor back then, living was pretty simple. Those who have seen both the times, the ones that I'm talking about in terms of the Industrial Revolution and the Information Revolution will agree with me on this aspect. Today's generation only knows what they see and experience today. And hence, for them, stress is a part of life. They have come to accept it as a part of life. Those who have gone through the Industrial Revolution and the Information Revolution have actually seen the evolution of stress over time. Of course, there were different factors contributing to stress in different points in time. Even during the Industrial Revolution, there were factors of stress. Stress around trying to make ends meet. Stress around earning a livelihood. But as times changed, so did the kinds of stress change. Now, how to cope with this stress is a question that often comes up. When you look at recent times, our mind has to deal with the constant and continuous influx of rapidly changing and insurmountable amount of information. Work that evolves continuously. Life dynamics that keep changing continuously. Complexity of our needs keeps increasing. There's needs, there's wants, and things you have to do in order to keep it all together while trying to meet all these challenges that are thrown your way. That's what causes stress in today's times. Now, how do you cope with this stress? How do you control it and not let it consume you? At the end of the day, that's what you want. You want to be in control of your stress and ensure that it does not consume you. Well, first, I think we all have to accept that stress is a part of life today. And instead of battling it, embrace it and then confront it. Now you may ask how. When you are under high levels of stress, rational thinking and decision making are often compromised. The first key skill is the ability to quickly calm yourself down when you're feeling overwhelmed. When you manage stress in the moment, it shows your strength and your resilience. This skill helps you stay balanced, focused, and in control no matter what challenges you face. Next, analyze your stress conditions and figure out the source of your stress. Where's the root cause? What is actually causing this stress? Once you know that source, do not keep thinking about and reanalyzing it. That's another issue with a lot of people. They keep reanalyzing the same stress contributors again and again. Instead, plan on confronting this source without being judgmental and then absolutely face it and confront it. Half the battle is won right there when you confront the root cause of your stress. For example, if it's a work situation that's contributing to your stress, confront the situation or the person that's causing it, perhaps your boss who put you in that situation. Talk through the issues you're facing and suggest changes that are going to help you as well as help the work situation to be successful. You decide the approach you want to take. You might want to meet them in person in a social setting. You might want to meet them in their office. You might want to meet them in a conference room. However you want to do it, the approach is up to you, but it needs to get done. The end goal is to alleviate stress from this situation and not burn any bridges either. So this is not just about you. This is about the work situation. This is about making a meaningful contribution, succeeding at that work situation, getting the situation to be successful, which means it's a win-win for the situation, for you and your boss or whoever you're confronting as well. Hence, set a positive and persuasive tone to your discussions. So although you're talking about stress, you don't have to go and fight it out. You can still be persuasive while you're being positive. Be direct in your efforts to alleviate the stress. Don't beat around the bush, just be direct. Get it done. Remember that the end goal is to manage the stress, manage the situation. It's not about who's to blame. It's not about the work or the relationship. It's the stress that we're trying to manage here. It's about the end product of the work and to have you in a better place to contribute to that end result. More likely than not, you'll come out with a change to the situation that'll relieve you of that stress. And you will still have a win-win relationship between all the people that are coming together to ensure that stress is alleviated. Third, learn to live in the present. Do not stress over something in the past since you can't change it, or the future since you're not there yet. What you can control and make better is the present, today, this moment. Ensure that is stress-free and that you're enjoying quality time, whether at work or at home with your loved ones. Always make sure you're in control of your present. That's the only thing that you have in your control. Might as well be in total control of it and might as well enjoy the situation while you're there. Build a positive perspective around your daily life. Make small changes that fulfill you and celebrate small victories that bolster your frame of mind, that take it towards positivity. Small things can make a huge deal in terms of keeping you positive and keeping you upbeat. Whether it's waking up on time, whether it's going for a jog or a walk, whether it's having that morning coffee at the same time every day, whether it's saying a couple of good things to your loved ones, whether it's hugging your kids before they go to school. Whatever it is, these things do matter. They might seem small, but they can make a tremendous amount of impact on your daily life and daily routine. Keeping it this way requires continuous and reinforced effort. Hence, find support in your family and friends. In the longer term, you'll see a change in your perspective, in your behavior, and that'll keep you a step ahead of the anomalies or the issues that come with today's complex lifestyles. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that episode. Please do check out my website, rajivmudumba.com, and do leave a review and a comment on your favorite platform for Plan B Success Podcast. Thank you.